Hi, my name is Barry Gibbs. I'm prop master. It was so nice to pick up a script that had got believable characters. Of course, the film or I should say, of course, there is no CGI in this movie. It's all been shot for real. But what's nice about it, there's no, crazy stunts. There's no car chases. There are no bangs, explosions. It's a lovely project. Strange working with George has been a pleasure. I mean, the man is an icon. I've always wanted to work with him as a director. I've also wanted to work with him as an actor. So getting the two in one is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. If we created a prop, it needed to do functions, which if something opened, you had to have a liner, you had to have something working inside, you had to have some mechanics. Whether it was used or not, it was just good for the actors to look at and to react to. We've just been filming some scenes on the spacewalk side of things and working on the Canada arm, so we were giving elements which may or may not have been used, but it just gave the artist something to work to, react to, and to work with. To try and work out what the future of technologies are is quite difficult. I mean, what we want to think is that everything has got smaller, more subtle, simpler, maybe voice activated, more maybe motion activated. But equally, it should be things where it's less wasteful, so you're not creating large surfaces, large items. Looking for reference, NASA is an incredible base. Oddly, when we were researching the spacewalk and how they were doing repairs on items, NASA have been running basically a 5-hour show for the last 5 weeks, showing them do spacewalks, which have been incredible. And we've just been looking at it and seeing how they move, how they react, what tools they use, how they remove things, how everything's tethered. It's been great. That's been a real eye-opener. And Jim Bissell, the production designer, has an amazing eye. His background is incredible, and the man is so knowledgeable. He can almost tell you how and why things would work, and then, of course, rip apart things. He said, well, it wouldn't work like that. And I remember having a conversation with him about holograms, and him telling me, well, do you know how a hologram or holographic projector works? Well, what you've just described is not going to work, and he's informing me on how it should work and how I should build it. You'll see that some of the set makes or set builds in there are of almost of a cellular construction, almost bone-like, as if they have taken all of the mass out of the builds and just structurally secure and stable because of the product design, which is now going on throughout future technologies. Materials are very different as well, so we're thinking of them being ceramics, of nylons, of printed titaniums. Things are very different. But the overall look is very unique. I don't think anyone will ever have seen a spacecraft looking like this one. So a lot of the props and set decorations have been made for the spaceship have been based on future technologies, topographical optimization, which is the 3D printing of items where computers try and work out what you require within the build. So you're only putting in the support mechanisms where you require it, and then leave open spaces which will give you less weight, less build time, and give you a more natural, almost organic look to items. You'll notice within the ship, some of the furniture is of the same design, so it's almost skeletal. Again, just showing you something that is very different to what you would see now. Regarding the humanitarian touch, the ideal would have been within the spaceship or in the kitchen area of the spaceship that the crew would almost talk to a screen, to their welcome screen, and say that they want to have an energy bar for breakfast, so that they can then go into the kitchen, and then the bar is printed, so all the nutrients for the day are in that bar, and they pick it up and off they go. The same thing goes with drinks. It would be exactly the same thing. That you know what you need for the day is printed. There is no waste. Things are reusable or recycled. So within the movie, there are a couple of flashbacks which are mostly regarding Augustine, so that he remembers his first meeting of Jean, and also of, unfortunately, the loss of Jean as well once they part, and then the shock realization that there may be a daughter involved. That was quite an interesting thing, because we had two other time periods. So we obviously had when they first met, which was around 2010, and then when we last see them when they part, somewhere around 2019. So again, it's quite interesting just looking at how you show technologies changing. So I've been looking at renting SLR cameras, which are of 2010 as opposed to 2019, and there's not a huge amount of difference, but people will notice it. I think ours are about 2009. Same thing with computers. Computers and phones change. So what we've added in things like earlier, the iPad is a series 1 or 2, I think, and the same thing goes to computers. It's just an earlier tech. Regarding scenes where there are VR flashbacks, where Mitchell sees his family, and Maya reflects on her cat on the doorstep at home, that is really taking it back, so that the idea being that they go into virtual reality sense, and it's looking at scenes that they can react to. So Mitchell can place himself in his kitchen with the family, see what's going on, but can't interact. So it's very much a bystander. And the same thing, of course, with Maya. She sees her sister hanging out with friends, petting the cat, and realizes she's not there. But it's trying to give her the sense of being in a happy place for that moment of time. We faced quite a few challenges on the film, not only through how the film evolved, but it was also how we were going to go straight into an environment where we were filming in Iceland on day one, making props which worked in freezing cold temperatures, howling winds, and then logistically getting it there. Going to the Canary Islands, you've got people think of Canary Islands, it's a great place to go on holiday, but what you don't take into account is going to the sites that we went to, which were up mountains in incredible vistas, but almost impossible to get to. So we had to think of things: how do you transport these items? How do you build them in a way that they can be manhandled, because we can't get machinery into them, because we're going to natural areas of beauty. We've done some really cool props on this movie. I mean, again, it started off as, it's just a conventional film, Barry, and then starting to work with George, he said, well, no, it would be nice if we did something different on that, and could we do this, could we do that? So, the list went on. We went from, okay, we've got snowmobiles, right, okay, but they need to be utilitarian, slightly retro, but slightly futuristic. So we made whole new bodies for snowmobiles. The prop team, the prop makers, made an incredible antenna. So the idea would be that a unit breaks or is smashed within the movie, and the team go out to replace it. And they create this antenna, which it really does look $1 million. It does look like an antenna that could open up like an umbrella system into a satellite. It is incredible. The workmanship is second to none.